Hello friends! Today in this video I will show you how to perform the lash lamination procedure using the Korean technique on Katya Vinogradova's rods. How does the Korean technique differ from the usual one? The difference is that we skip the familiar step of laying the lashes onto the rod and apply the first solution completely without the rod. In other words, in the standard technique, we first lay out the lashes and only then apply the first solution, but in the Korean technique, we immediately apply the first solution directly onto the patch, without the rod, using a specific method. This ensures that we achieve the desired curl and that the lash tips are not damaged. So, we take all of these factors into account. The Korean technique is the perfect option for those who simply want to make their work easier, since, honestly, laying out the lashes is not a particularly favorite step for many people. And to be honest, I've been doing lash lamination for 6 years and laying out the lashes comes easily to me, but I gladly gave it up. And now even with clients and models, I work exclusively with the Korean technique on a regular basis. Also, the Korean technique is just perfect for situations when you try to lay out the lashes using the regular method, but the lashes simply won't stick at all. Such clients are rare, but they do come, and they always leave the technician at a loss. The first time I encountered a situation like this, well, I just got a terrible result. Even though at that time I was already quite an experienced technician, it was either 2021 or 2022. I actually made a separate video about this story. It's called My Awkward Situations in Lash Lamination. Because of course, well, it was really stressful since some of the lashes lifted and some of them stayed straight. And the main difficulty was that it was just hard to stick the lashes to the rod. They basically wouldn't stick at all. Why does this happen? Because the cuticle is tightly closed. We don't have that space where moisture from the glue can get in, which is what allows the lashes to stick to the rod. No, the cuticle is so dense, so tightly closed, that moisture simply can't penetrate the lash in any way. Just imagine, for a moment, if you were to take a single strand of hair or perhaps an eyelash and meticulously cover it with a very thin, protective kind of glass film. No matter how much water or any type of adhesive glue or indeed any product containing moisture you might apply to it, the moisture simply and effectively won't reach the hair itself because we have created this impermeable barrier that completely prevents any moisture from penetrating the delicate lash. It's exactly the very same situation and principle that applies here. So what do? First, we soften the lash without the rod simply by applying the solution, and only then do we take the rod and place the lashes onto it without any glue. And then we have absolutely no issues working with such difficult, dense lashes. Next, which rods are suitable for working with the Korean technique? I can say that, to put it simply, all except the rounded ones. All except the rounded ones. A great option is the rods by Katya Vinogradova. I really love using them in my work because they provide a lifting effect, but at the same time, it's a very beautiful lift without harsh creases at the root area. It's a smooth lift of the lashes right from the roots. And these rods are suitable both for downward growing lashes and for straight lashes. By the way, here our model has straight lashes. And as you can later see, the Venok rods fit perfectly. The only thing is, what's the catch? Look, there's a technique where we intentionally choose a rod one size smaller. That is, Katya Vinogradova's rods have a sizing rule. The tips of the lashes should reach the end of the working surface. Here, in fact, I have a perfect example in my work of how I chose a rod exactly the right size. That is, the tips of the lashes are at the end of the working surface. But when we work in the usual classic technique, we can intentionally choose a smaller rod. In that case, the tips will extend beyond the working surface and hang in the air. But we will get a more dramatic effect, because the bend point will shift closer to the root area and the lashes will lift more noticeably. However, in the Korean technique, if you want to do the same, you need to be extremely careful. I have a comprehensive training course on the Korean technique, and there I offer a feedback package where I help professionals by reviewing their work. My feedback is a thorough, in-depth review, where for about 10 to 15 minutes I provide feedback specifically on your work. And just yesterday, a student came to me, she sent me her work, and that's exactly where a mistake was made. The professional used Katya Vinogradova's rods, worked with the Korean technique, took Katya Vinogradova's rods, and chose a rod one size smaller. The lashes were quite long, but a size 2 rod was used, so the tips were sticking out far beyond the working surface. In some cases, you can do this, but you need to be careful. It's important to understand that during the Korean technique, we treat the entire length of the lashes with the solution. Accordingly, the position of the lashes changes along their entire length. But if the tips get bent, they'll stay that way after the procedure. So let's compare. In the standard technique, even if the tips got bent, it wasn't a big deal. Of course, it's better to avoid this, but overall, it's not a big deal because we removed the rod from the tip, didn't apply the solution there, and everything turned out fine. The tips straightened out. In the Korean technique, we also applied the solution to the tips, so the tips will also follow the shape of the rod, meaning they'll keep that bend after the crease point. That's why, ideally, when using the Korean technique, you should select Katya Vinogradova's rods to match the size exactly, or be extremely careful, maybe use some kind of backing, or just make sure the tips don't get creased. So basically, you can work this way, but it's very important to do it with great care. Next, let's go over the following steps together. After we've finished the first solution and attached the lashes to the rod without glue, here I'm working without powder. Next, we apply the second solution, making sure to cover all the lashes. After that, we move on to the standard step of tinting and cleansing the lashes. Here, I cleanse the lashes using a foam cleanser. I'm using a foam cleanser from the brand. Next, I apply either the third solution or a gel concentrate to the lashes. Here I'm using one from Amica Lashes. It's a concentrate and I really like it. And just look at how beautiful and vibrant the curl turned out. I'm very pleased with the result. The lift is incredibly striking. And achieving such a bold effect is very easy with the Korean technique because, first of all, we treat the entire length of the lashes with the solution, you could say. Also, since we don't have the obstacle of glue, the solution works more effectively because in the regular technique, when laying out the lashes, there can be areas with more glue and areas with less. In the Korean technique, we don't have this obstacle, and the solution works more precisely. Next, in the Korean technique, we start applying the solution right from the root area, and thanks to this, of course, we achieve the most beautiful and striking effect. If you want to learn how to do the Korean technique, come to our training. Details are in the description. This online training is suitable for both beginners and experienced professionals. Damn. That's really cool. Everything's good. Alright, thank you all for watching. Bye bye.